I'm genuinely at a loss at how bad Silent Hill 2 looks.
It literally just looks like they took the base game that we all liked and took all of the models and made it go over the shoulder and called it a day.
Like I'm honestly amazed. Like with Sony's obsession with like polish and prettiness, I'm shocked they even showed that. Because like I'm always going to be biased. I've like Silent Hill 2 is my favorite game of all time. And I'm recording by the way because there's no way
For sure.
there's no way this wasn't going to end up as a video. Like I there's just something so special about Silent Hill 2. It's the reason why no one has touched it. Like the reason no one has touched that game is because it's such a hard game to recreate, and it is admittedly a very easy game to misunderstand. I'm always going to be biased. I'm always going to have that part of me that's like the original or nothing. I hate anything that's not the original. But I have never seen a game so blatantly miss the point of the game it's remaking. I have never seen such a blatant misunderstanding of the source material than that trailer. And again, aside from the fact that I'm amazed that Sony even showed that because that looked rough. Like that looked ugly. The animations looked like garbage. There was that one shot that literally made my jaw drop at how bad it looked. There was one shot of James shooting something. It just looked so jerky, and I could have been misseeing it. It looked like
That's
the
the
blood
exact
splash.
thing I noticed.
Yeah, it looked
Oh
like the
god.
blood splash wasn't even coming out of the thing that got shot. And at that point, my jaw dropped. I was like, how is this what you're showing? You've had this thing in development for how long? And you know how high profile of a game it is. You know how important of a game that this is to so many people. And this is like, how is it possible for a first showing of a high profile game to look that fucking unpolished, first of all? Second of all, this is exactly what I knew was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. I knew they were going to turn it into a shitty Resident Evil knockoff. I knew they were going to completely misunderstand. If you haven't played the original Silent Hill, combat in the original Silent Hill 2 is fucking dog shit. The combat in that game is horrendous, and that's the fucking point. You're not supposed to enjoy the combat in that game because the combat is not the point. And then here comes the Silent Hill 2 remake trailer. Ooh, updated for a modern age. And it's like 90% of the trailer is him just shooting things, is him hitting things. Again, hitbox is with the melee, with him hitting it with the stick. That whole section of him hitting the monster with the 2x4 looked horrible. But then there were like the glamour shots of him loading the gun. It's like, this is not Resident Evil. This is Silent Hill 2. The reason the combat sucked in the original game was because it was not supposed to be good. If they wanted the combat in Silent Hill 2 to be good, they would have put more fucking effort into it. But they didn't, because it's not supposed to be the focus. And now here comes the remake, and all they're focusing on is the combat. I knew this was going to happen. Like, I know Bloober Team are a bunch of fucking hacks. I know they're a bunch of untalented, untalented is unfair, because they are clearly very talented, like, ground level people. Their programmers are very talented. Their visual department is very good. They have some really pretty games. They've had some really nice running games in the past. But when it comes to game design, they are so untalented and so uninterested in being talented. And if you just want to make walking sims, fine, make walking sims. But the fact that a bunch of fucking hacks like Bloober Team got a hold of one of the most important horror games of all time, like, we should have known this was going to happen. No one on the actual creative team played the original game. You cannot convince me anyone actually played and finished the original game and then went on to be a designer or a director or any kind of actual top-down influence on the remake. That trailer was the single biggest example of completely missing the point I have ever seen. And I probably sound like such a whiny little cunt right now, But, like, this game is so important to me. I fucking adore Silent Hill 2. It is one of the most special games to me. And and it's been so frustrating being a Silent Hill fan because of how Konami just basically threw the IP in the garbage like 20 years ago, and how there are so many people out there who never got to experience this game because Konami refuses to preserve it. And now their definition of preserving it is turning it into Resident Evil and handing it off to the most untalented gameplay programmers you could have possibly chosen for this. It is so frustrating. That's the end of. Would you like to say any words now? I'm done. That's the end of. That's the end of this. That's monologue.
The end of Joe from Seattle. Joe from Seattle is done. He is tapping out, ladies and gentlemen. He's over it.
Like, from every angle, I can't believe that's what was shown. I can't believe that creatively that no one thought this would happen. I can't believe that anyone expected Bloober Team to respect the intention of the original instead of just turning it into Resident Evil, because the Resident Evil remakes are popular right now. And I'm amazed that Sony signed off on that trailer. That looks so under their usual, like, quality control.
James, like, again, everything about that game in regards to the graphics just looks like all they did was say, hey, we're gonna make the overworld look pretty, we're gonna move the camera angle to be over the shoulder, and that's it. The end. Like, that's all it looks like they really did.
My expectations were so low. Like, it's been a running joke on my channel that I had no expectations of that game. Like, it's been a running joke that I fully expected the Silent Hill 2 remake to be terrible. And I'm honestly amazed that it's that bad. I thought it was at least going to look more polished than that.
Oh, man.
Like, looking at the trailer again, what is up with the lighting? I don't know. I'm not, like, well-versed enough in, like, camera terminology and stuff, like lighting terminology. But, like, something just looks so off. Is that, like the exposure is too high or something? Like, it doesn't look finished. And, like, because it's not finished. This is what they're showing off. They didn't have to show this off.
That entire state of play, honestly, was just... But you should have just waited. You should have just had, like, a 2-hour-long presentation at that point.
For real, if they're doing another one in a week, I don't understand what the rush was.
It looks like it's not even, it wasn't even, it looks like it's in pre-alpha.
It does. You know what it looks like? You know what we're back to Silent Hill 2 now, because I'm still upset. But you know what that looks like? You know those YouTube videos that are like, oh, Unreal 5, like, concept art of Grand Theft Auto 7, or like those weird videos where it's basically just an Unreal demo, like a predetermined thing that's meant to look like gameplay, and it's usually just a guy walking around, but then every once in a while the character will do a swing on something. That's what Silent Hill 2 actually looks like. That's what the gameplay actually looks like. I think that's why it bothers me so much. It just looks so fucking cheap.
It's trying to be what it's not. It's not meant to be Resident Evil. It's not meant to be, like, action-esque. It's meant to make your fucking skin crawl.
Yeah, and even if it was meant to be action-esque even if it was meant to be what they're trying to make it, it doesn't change the fact that you do not have the talent to make it. You do not have the talent to make a gameplay-focused game, because if you showed off the Silent Hill 2 remake, and it was basically just Resident Evil, and James Sunderland was basically just Leon Kennedy, but it was like, the gameplay was like, it looked fun, I could get over it, you know? I could accept it as its own thing. I could accept it as a different interpretation of Silent Hill 2. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I could accept it. But that's not what this is. This is you misunderstanding what the original was, and your new vision for what the original was doesn't even look finished. It just looks half-assed in every possible way. I haven't looked at, like, the like to dislike ratio on that trailer yet, so I don't know if I just am on crazy pills and everyone else thinks it looks awesome. And I'm kind of worried that that's what is going to happen, because Konami has done such a bad job at preserving this game, there's a lot of people who never played the original. There's a lot of people who aren't going to understand why people like me are so upset about this. Because what's your frame of reference? You know? Like, so many people haven't played the original Silent Hill 2. So why would you be upset about this new version of it missing the mark so drastically? I'm hoping that the internet is upset about this, but I haven't checked if the internet is upset about this yet. Okay, the trailer is getting dislike hit pretty hard. I have some redeemed faith in the internet, because it doesn't look like the internet's super okay with this. So I feel a little less insane now. Because if the internet was just gonna eat this up, I was gonna feel like a crazy person. I just realized something. Not to keep going back to fucking Silent Hill 2. But I just noticed something. That trailer that they showed off, like the YouTube re-upload of it, it's called the Combat trailer. They call it this. Do you hear my head in my hands right now?
Yeah,
Do you hear it?
You got muffled.
Do you hear it?
Oh, man.
You made a combat trailer for Silent Hill 2. Scream louder that you don't understand the game. Scream louder that you never played the original. Why, in the name of the fucking... Oh my... You made a combat trailer for a game where the combat was never meant to be the focus of any aspect of it. I don't believe this. Like, I genuinely cannot believe this.
Everything hurts.
Everything hurts and I'm dying. Fuck me for liking things, you know? That's what Sony basically said. Fuck you for liking things.
Yep.
Hey, you know that game you really liked? You know that game that was really important to you? Yeah, that's ours now. Oh, you know all the things that you liked about it? Those aren't really good enough, you know? We understand this more than you. Oh, sorry, my bad. I thought I liked the thing because of the things about it that were unique to it, but clearly I should be excited for the remake because my impression of the thing that I liked was completely wrong. I'm sorry, you're right, Sony. You're right. The person who made the game popular enough for you to buy the rights to the remake, you're right. You understand this more than me. Totally. Yeah. It will be Bloober Team. I don't understand how Bloober Team keeps getting work.
Everything hurts.
Everything hurts and I hate it.